I'm trying to follow through on my New Year's resolution of actually finishing more games. So to help stay on track, the new challenge is to finish at least a game a week. Shouldn't be too hard. Unfortunately, I didn't finish anything new this time around. At least nothing that was released this year. Although the only thing really interesting so far in January is Dragon Ball Kakarot and Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Before I continue, I want to add that this was supposed to be out at the end of January, but we ended up moving to a new home and there was just too much to get done before and even more things to handle once we got in. When everything settled down, there were some PC issues that came up, but it's all resolved now, so that's why January and February recaps will be late, but from March on, there shouldn't be any delays. So let's get started. Jade Cocoon. I've already talked about this one a bit, but it is the first game I've beaten this year. Developed by Genki and released in 1999, Jade Cocoon is a traditional turn-based RPG about a young cocoon master who has to save a small town after many of the residents fall into a coma, essentially. In Pokemon-like fashion, you capture minions of the forest in cocoons and use them to fight for you. The best feature of the game is the ability to merge captured minions together and create something special. Jade Cocoon actually does a great job building an interesting world with great lore, but the story doesn't take full advantage of everything offered, and the gameplay itself can be rather slow and cumbersome, especially by today's standards. Still, it's a very interesting and at times beautiful game that's very nostalgic to me. I still don't know what the Jade Cocoon is though. Borderlands 3. Phantasy Star Online and Borderlands are the best co-op series ever created. That comes to mind right now. I was really excited to play through Borderlands 3 when it first came out, but you know how it goes. Things happen and it wasn't until recently I was able to play through. I had a good time with this one. The best way to play these games is with a group, and fortunately I had people to play with the whole way through. No crazy takes on this one. The game is good, but it's not amazing. I agree with the majority of people that the villains this time around weren't up to Handsome Jack's standards, and personally, I think what happens to one of my favorite characters from Borderlands 2 is just terrible. Other than those couple of things, it was more of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And the traveling to different planets did help vary the environments a bit. I hope this would suck me in like Borderlands 2 did, but unfortunately I haven't been back to this one after beating it. Thankfully, PSO 2 is on the way. Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice. This game, man, what a game. I heard good things about this one when it was first released, but I had no idea. Developed by Ninja Theory and released in 2017, Hellblade is about Senua's journey to save her love, Dillion. It's a pretty heavy game that deals with a serious topic. So much of this game is well done. It looks great, sounds amazing, and sound plays such a big part in Hellblade's game.
Do you hear the suffering, Senua? Does your precious gift of sight let you see the souls that rot here in this sea of corpses?
Throughout the game, there are runestones you can find that will hit you with some Norse mythology, which I loved. Check out Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology if you're into that stuff. The actual gameplay is pretty good too. There are a lot of simple puzzles to solve, and aside from the occasional combat sections, you'll spend most of the time running through some environments that range from beautiful to disturbing. Speaking of combat, I thought it was really fun. Fairly simple, but once you get the hang of it, it feels good and looks impressive. Not a lot of combat in this game, so it's really the story carrying this one, but the story is very compelling. I strongly recommend this to anyone who hasn't tried it yet. And finally, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. To be honest, I needed a game to get through quickly, and I knew this was a short one. I had no idea it was only an hour though. Gonna count it still. Released in 2018, developed by DontNod Entertainment, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit is an adventure game like The Walking Dead or DontNod's other adventure title, Life is Strange. I generally like these kind of games, especially The Walking Dead and Until Dawn. And this one was alright. I guess this was supposed to serve as a kind of demo for the next Life is Strange, but coming off Hellblade, I just wasn't into this one. To be fair, the game sets up an interesting little story, and if you're into adventure games, you'll have a good, short time. So that was January. Off to a good start, I think. We had a nice mix of genres there. I'm also trying to focus on finishing games that are getting sequels, remakes, re-releases, or whatever this year. I'm really curious what they've got planned for Hellblade 2. And I've got to say, for January, Hellblade was the game for me. But that's it for now. February's 4 should be out soon, among other things. Thank you all for your time. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're playing. And I'll see you next time.